Welcome everyone. Tonight we are going to be looking at the full list of revealed cards for the Gundam Card Game beta product. I hope everyone's been having a good weekend and I hope you've been having a good night. A couple updates on the game before we really get started and we go through our plan. This weekend the game was premiered at Bandai Card Fest Utrecht for sure, and I think maybe in Singapore as well. I might be getting my dates mixed up. And tonight, possibly as I speak on stream, it's also having an event with content creators in Houston. So a lot of news, a lot of people getting to officially try the game, although people have been playing with proxies for a while now, but people are playing with the full list of cards, the actual real cards, so that's pretty exciting. We've seen some exciting foiling in the product, and some of the alt arts for real look very nice. So it's good to see things out in the wild and kind of see people enjoying the game already, even though it's not technically released yet, but it is coming to everyone soon. And if you're able to go to the Orlando event, I believe in January, I definitely would suggest you try to sign up. Their signups might be closed now, but a reminder that you should check with your local game stores to see if they got selected to run the beta trial events next year, likely in February. And I'll leave links for the beta trial events in the description as usual, because I want people to play this game and you should support your local game store. So the plan tonight is to go through all the cards that have been shown for the beta product. It's not that many cards. A reminder that the beta is basically like a sampling of the first set plus 2 or 3 of the starter decks. We'll probably figure out by the end how many. There's 3 colors in the beta product: blue, green, and white. We're going to go one color at a time to make editing easier for myself, and because that makes sense. As always, my card game content is focused on new players and casual players. I'm very happy if people talk about the competitiveness of the cards and how powerful they are. I'm sure it'll come up for me as well. I'm going to be looking at a lot of synergies and how I think they'll play in free for all, and just sort of the vibe they give. I might also mention if I enjoy the Gundam series or not. I'm biased. This is a game based on a very long-running franchise where people have biases on which series they like or not. I fully expect people to make decks out of I just love Gundam Seed. I don't care if it's good. So, but we're gonna see how well those cards synergize together. Do I enjoy the Gundam franchise? You know what's funny? I think a lot of people my age, I grew up with Wing in the 90s, but I was the only kid I knew who immediately went back and watched the original series. I think I've seen all but 5 Gundam series, and mostly because they were just hard to get a hold of when I was younger. I'm sure I could watch them now. I think the only things I haven't seen are X. That's the only one I can think of actually. Turn A and Victory, I think, are the only things I've never seen off the top of my head. And the new Requiem series on Netflix, just because I don't really particularly like the art style. Let's go ahead and get into looking at the cards. We're just going to go one by one. I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm sure some of them, like the vanilla cards, they're just going to be role players until we get the full set, and then maybe you'll take them out of decks. So those should go pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and get started with the blue cards. All right, first up, we got the classic. We've got the level 4 3 cost from the starter deck. It says ST right here, means it's from the starter 001. So it's the first card in the starter deck. Legend Rare, I believe, is what LR stands for. This little symbol means it's from the beta product. This will be in the starter deck. I don't know if it'll be a different art. It just won't have this symbol on it, just for people who... I see a lot of people still being confused about what the beta product is. Legendary Rare, thank you. So unit This is the Gundam RX-78-2, the original Gundam. I just call this RX-78-2. I don't really call this Gundam just because Gundam means whatever series you started with to a lot of people. Let's see, repair 2. At the end of your turn, this unit recovers the specified number of HP. During your turn, all your units get AP +1. So to break this down for people who haven't seen the game at all and are very new to how like Bandai games work, the colored words typically indicate timing or like effect. All Bandai games basically do this. In Gundam, your damage stays on the unit, so repair 2 just means you heal 2 damage at the end of your turn, and during paired means if you've played a pilot to pair with this, down here it says Armor Array is its link unit, although this doesn't need to be its link pilot to have this effect. Your units just get +1 AP. It's just like a buff ability. From what I know, and people like can correct me if I'm wrong, blue is the Earth Federation, so like the original Gundam series. We'll see how good this AP +1 is, but this does include itself. So if it's paired, not only will it get the bonus from the pilot, but it also should get the +1 from its own ability. And we'll get to Amuro in a few cards. But if you're playing a blue deck right now, you're probably playing this card. I believe it is the highest level blue Gundam right now. There might be a level 5, but I think it's like the only one with the ability. It, like in most things, especially games that like the MA form. Okay. Like especially ones that have their damage remain, like it's just a nice buff. You know, you'll take out some of the like level 3 and lower units pretty easily with 4/4, and it will be bigger because you'll have a pilot, hopefully Amuro. Solid like middle of your curve unit, and when you get to Amuro, you'll kind of understand the level 4 3 cost thing. It'll make sense when we get there. I forgot about Unicorn. I did not read what Unicorn did, but I saw the card. So this is just an alternate art. I actually like this art a lot, so alright, here we go. Just mentioned in chat, Gundam MA form. MA usually stands for mobile armor. So this is a level 5 3 cost, which means you need to have 5 resources out, but you only need to rest 3 of them. What does Unicorn do? Truly the question of all time. Which we did clarify in the rules that your EX resource does count towards your levels. So if you're going second and you keep your EX resource, you can get to this pretty quickly. Let's see. Unit makes sense. It's a 4/3 normally. The pilot link is still Amuro Ray. It's Earth Federation white base team type. There's not a ton of things that care about traits yet in the game from what I've seen. But like any Bandai game, give it a few years. If you compare like the early, like how early this is to Digimon now, basically every Digimon card cares about these things here. But it's not that much, right? It's only on like a few cards. Like, comparatively to something, okay, 4, yeah. That makes sense. There will definitely be more in the first set. Give it a few years. If Digimon's any indication, every single card will care about this. Somehow, some way, it'll happen. So just goes into the whole like Bandai's an archetype-based TCG company. The things you care about are things being from like the same series or the same type and things like that. But this ability is when paired specifically with a white-based team, you draw 1. Now, I believe the way this works is it's like a trigger that when you pair them with a pilot with the white base team trait, you draw the card. Someone can correct me if that's incorrect, but I believe that's like it happens once, but it has to specifically be white base team that you're pairing it with. So I assume Amuro. Oh, it's any pilot? Do you know why it says white base team here? With white base. Okay, yeah. So doesn't have to be Amuro. Amuro is just like an example. There's other white base team pilots, but drawing cards is good. I need to see the rest of the cards to know if this is like absolutely true, but blue in most games is usually the color that draws cards without much effort. Yeah, the aim would be Amuro, but if you don't have him in your hand and you need to draw a card or you want to draw a card, there will be backup pilots. Drawing cards is good. This game does have a hand size limit, which is interesting because a lot of Bandai games don't have a hand size limit. I believe it's 10. You draw 5 cards, and then the maximum hand size is 10. So it's a starter deck card. Seems fine. It kind of depends on how fast you want to turbo out with your card draw in the end. Once the full set's out, there might be cards that draw cards a little bit faster or more often. Here we go. We're still on starter deck cards. We're still on starter deck 1 cards. So this is the GM RGM 79. It's a level 2 1 cost. So if you're going second, you will have level 2 because you will have the resource you play and your EX resource. So you can play this on turn 1. If you're going first, unless I'm mistaken, you can't play this on turn 1. It is a 2/2. Basically, you can think of it like in other card games. Like the cost is different, but you need to have the resources available, technically. So it's a 2/2 for 2, which is like pretty baseline stats for any kind of card game. No effects, so this is a pretty easy card. It's an Earth Federation trait. It'll be there. You gotta play units at basically every point in the game. It's how you win the game. Until we get some level 2s that have like abilities, you're gonna be playing these vanilla cards. It's kind of straightforward. Okay, here's Amuro. Now the leveling and the cost is going to make sense, because even showing my friends who like play card games, it was kind of hard for them to like click with it. So I'll explain it. So this is another starter deck. Amuro Ray, it's a level 4, so you need 4 resources total, at least 4, and then it costs 1. And if you remember, Gundam was a level 4 that costs 3, so you can play both of these on the same turn as soon as you hit level 4. And a reminder from the rules video we made a week ago or something, that if you use a pilot that's the same name or type that's on the very bottom of the unit card to pilot that unit, they don't have air quotes summoning sickness, and they can attack the turn you play them. In the black bar at the bottom here, you go back to the Gundam here. So Gundam wants you to link, wants Amuro Ray to link with the Gundam, wants Amuro to pilot it. If Amuro is piloting it, it can attack immediately the turn this is played. Normally, units cannot attack the turn they're played, even if they have any other pilot. It has to specifically be the one that's on this black bar at the bottom. So the reason Amuro costs 1, no matter what his effect is so that you can play both on the same turn. And I'm sure this will come up again and again as the game grows, is like, you kind of need to be able to play the person and the unit on the same turn, or else linking doesn't mean anything. But Amuro, first add this card to your hand. So if this card is in your shield area and it gets destroyed, instead of it going to trash, it just goes in your hand. This is a very standard Bandai game effect. You'll see it everywhere. It gives +2/+1. So if you pilot Gundam, it gets +2/+1, but it gets an additional +1 AP because of the Gundam's paired effect. So it turns the Gundam into a 6/5, I believe. I can math sometimes. Similar to kind of Digimon, the pilots sometimes have like the inherited effect, or the effect that the unit gets if someone's piloting it. And Amuro's is, when paired, choose one enemy unit with 5 HP or less, 5 or less HP, and rest it. So I believe that blue is kind of control-y, so this will rest a unit and you can attack into it, or you can rest like a unit with blocker and you can go hit their shields. I'm going to translate everything to like kind of other Bandai games especially. blue sounds like green in Digimon, where it's all about suspending your opponent's units and then taking them out through effects or through attacks to clear their board. I like effects like this personally. This is kind of like my play style in Bandai games, so I'm pretty interested in blue. I'm not sure what I'd want to pair it up with again. Give it time. Well, I guess green kind of got piercing. But maybe blue will get something like raid where you can like change the target or something. We'll just have to see. But I like it. If you're playing the Gundam, you're playing this. Honestly, like 4 of Gundam, 4 of Amuro seems pretty simple. Even in like Battle Royale free for all, it's sort of like it's your workhorse pair. They're gonna do a lot of work for you. Thoroughly damaged. I haven't seen this card at all. So this is a level 2 1 cost command, still from the first starter deck. Commands are essentially the instant sorcery option event cards of the game. They tell you when they can be played in the effect box. Main means only in your main phase. If it says action, it means that it can be played during the like action steps of the game. So the action step during combat and the action step at the end of a turn. I'm sure we'll see some of those. This one is a command and a pilot. Some commands aren't pilots, but some are pilots. So when you play them, you choose if you're using the command effect or if you're just playing the pilot. This is just a +0/+1 pilot Hayato Kobayashi, Earth Federation white base team. But the command effect is choose one rested enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. Yeah, basically what we were just talking about in chat. Blue is rest and then deal damage to them. I don't know how good or interesting this is. I don't know if the sequence is okay. Amuro rest like just for example, because we haven't seen all the cards. Amuro rest a unit when he's paired with a unit, and then this would deal the last damage to it. I would just be worried that like maybe you really need to get rid of something. That makes sense. That's a good note. That command and pilot cards combined usually don't have a burst effect because they're more versatile. That's a good note. I don't know. Maybe this card's like more impactful than I have it being in my head without seeing all the other cards, but I feel like I would be sacrificing a unit to get rid of something fairly often. Okay, it feels dumb. Okay. Yeah, it feels like what I want this card for is a deck that has really high HP and like low AP. Only good versus tokens, char token spawns. That makes sense. Like if this was for like a very high HP deck where you needed to like rest a unit and then like attack with a couple, but they won't die because their HP is so high, and then you just finish it off with this. That kind of play pattern makes sense to me, but I think right now, if you're resting something and then like attacking with one of your units to get it down to get the enemy unit down to 1 HP, your unit probably died in the process. Because if people don't remember or don't know, units hit each other when they attack each other. So you don't get out like scotch free. Like you will take damage. So you really need to have the benefit of like, I'll live through this and I just need to deal 1 damage to you. Maybe if we start getting stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, Zonda. It's like it feels like it's a 2 for 1, but you need it to be like a 1.5 for 1. Like your unit that attacks needs to like not come close to dying, and you just can't attack again. And you just need this to finish the job, which I don't think would be the case right now. +1 HP is pretty good. Okay, interesting. That's good to know. I guess because damage stays, like every little bit of extra HP is like more impactful than it might seem at first. All right, we've got another command and pilot combo, Kai's Resolve. This is a level 3 1 cost, still from the starter deck. This has the main effect of choose 1 friendly unit. It recovers 3 HP. And the pilot is Kai Shiden, +1/+0. So basically the opposite stats and kind of the opposite effect a little bit, just heals 3 HP. I could be wrong, but I imagine healing 3 HP is probably a little more impactful than the deal 1 damage. Yeah, like it feels really lopsided. Like it is a higher level, so you need to be further into the game, so it's like, okay, sure, whatever. Like that's fine. But I have to imagine the average damage if you're just attacking with a unit probably is 3. Like it's probably 2 or 3. Like if they're not being piloted or anything, like if there's no bonus. So this basically just removes a single attack. Ido would have been so much better if he was level 3-4 cost. They can't hear me, but I agree. If it was like 2 cost, deal 3 damage or something, that would be way better. I'd be okay with losing a unit then. We've got our first base. I can talk. This is still from the starter deck. I will let everyone know when we get to the main set card so that people can kind of see the difference. Maybe we can infer what we're going to get more of in the starter deck versus the main set that way. So this is a level 3 2 cost. Before we get to the effect, I'm going to explain bases quickly. You have a shield area in the game that's essentially your player health. It has 6 cards from your deck that are face down, and then you start the game with an EX base that has 3 HP. You have to get through the base to hit your shields. You can play a different base at any time. You just remove the one that's already in your shield area to the trash. So this is a 5 HP blue base, white base. That's not confusing at all. That's going to bother me forever. It has burst, deploy this card. This is kind of similar to like Tamers and Digimon. A lot of Tamers and Digimon have this burst effect where they're not called burst effects, but where it gets, if it's in your shield area and it gets hit, you get it as your base instead. When you deploy it, you add one of your shields to your hand, which is an interesting thing that I didn't know. I don't know if they all do this, but I didn't know some of the bases did this, where you're basically replacing a shield with something that has actual HP, which I think is like kind of cool. Like that's a cool way to balance it a little bit, and you get a card into your hand, which is nice. And then it's activate main effect once per turn. So during your main phase, you can do this once. You can pay 2 resources and then deploy 1 Gundam white base team AP3 HP3 unit token if you have 0 units in play. Deploy 1 gun cannon with AP2 HP2 unit if you only have 1 unit in play, or deploy 1 gun tank AP1 HP1 unit token if you have 2 or more units in play. Token swarm, essentially, but kind of slow. So you only get one of these. You can only get one of these. So if you have nothing, you get a bigger body, and then if you have 2 things, you get the smallest body, which is a 1/1. Bases and shields feel great because there's +1 card in hand as opposed to paying for it. Also, if it's the last check, it's fantastic. Yeah, like it's really cool. I am not the biggest fan of shield systems in games, but I actually like what they're doing with Gundam. Basically making it like an actual playable area is really nice. I know that it's a playable area depending on the deck in other games, but that it's a playable area in basically all decks is, I think, a nice change of pace for this kind of system. I like this card. It is kind of interesting with the unit limit the game has. I believe you can only have 6 units at a time. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I'm not the biggest fan when games do that, but I kind of understand it from like a gameplay perspective. So I'm trying to think of like what's the ideal situation for this. Would you spend 2 to make the Gundam instead of playing a 2 cost unit from your hand? I guess it just depends on the effect. Like a 3/3 for 2 is probably pretty good actually. I like bases. They seem to be stages from One Piece, which to my knowledge weren't run that often, but as a nice bonus for, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's kind of like what I figured is like if you have a better thing to do with 2. So it's kind of like any token maker activated ability in any card game. If you have something better to do, you do that. But this is like a pretty good backup plan. Honestly, a 3-3 for 2 is like not the worst thing in the world. Do the token units have link pilots too? Yeah, that makes sense. Tokens have no links. Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, if they had links, this would be kind of crazy. Okay, they have traits. Okay. Okay. I'm excited. Yeah. I think this is cool. I think that this is a cool base. I would definitely play it, even in like in free for all. This seems like actually really good. As far as I'm concerned, the problem with free for all is just going to be running out of things to do because you have 3 people you're fighting against. This just gives you something to do every turn without using cards, just like you said. Gun cannon. Okay, we are officially on the actual main set. GD01. This is card number 4. So this is a level 3 2 cost 2/3. Hey Amp, thanks for the sub. How's it going? How's it going? Hope Marvel Rivals has been treating you well. We're talking about and recording some video for looking at the Gundam card game cards because the beta all got revealed. So we're nerding out a little bit. Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm excited to try it one day. So 2-3. This Link pilot is just a white-based team trait. So anyone with the white-based team trait can pilot this. And then its abilities are repair 1, so heal 1 at the end of your turn, and when paired, choose one enemy unit with 2 or less HP and rest it. I'm sure that's gonna come up. Yeah, my guess is there's not enough units that this affects. Wait, so is this like good or does it not do enough when paired with Amuro? When it's paired with Amuro, does that mean it rests 2 units? So far, the blue units all seem like they got the booty, you know. They've got the HP and not the damage to back it up, is kind of what it feels like right now. Okay. I mean, resting 2 things is good, but that's like pretty situational. Oh, might have a bigger booty? Okay. Resting 2 units seems cool. So in free for all, if you're paired with Amuro, you can rest a unit from 2 different people, right? Like that seems pretty good, like politically. I could see that being like kind of fun, as you can make deals with somebody, be like, hey, I'll rest a unit from our 2 opponents, and like you take out this one, I'll take out this one, or try to. Like that's kind of like, that's neat. I don't know if I'd run 4 of right now, but never make deals with Zonda. It's cool. You can betray me. I'm here to lose. Alright, so this is just an alternate art. I kind of like this art a little bit more. I'm a sucker for Gundams just standing there. I don't know why. Okay, here's Unicorn Gundam Unicorn mode. It's called Unicorn mode because it only has 1 horn on its head. This is from the main set, not the starter deck. This is a level 5 4 cost. You wouldn't have this on turn 5 or 4 if you were second and you saved your EX resource. 4/3. Its link is Bonager. I always forget how to say his name. Bonager links. Its trait is civilian. During pair, if it's destroyed, if this is a link unit, return its paired pilot to its owner hand, then discard 1. Is level 5 the highest? I think we've seen like 1 level 6, right? This is cool. It's protection for your pilot. Okay, 2 level 6s. I'd want to know what Bonager does. Bonager? Oh my god. Someone in YouTube comments can tell me how to say this. I think this effect really depends on the pilots being worth putting back in your hand. Because I'm just thinking, like, at some point in the game, not that I think this is gonna happen, but this is just off the top of my head, if there's some sort of combo where you have Unicorn and have a pilot, and the Unicorn gets destroyed and the pilot gets bounced to your hand, and when you play the pilot, you get the Unicorn back to your hand as well, like kind of looping the Unicorn from your trash. That's complicated, and I don't know if the game's ever going to get to that point, but like that would be kind of cool. I like that it bounces the pilot to your hand. Like I was joking about this during the rules video because I hadn't seen this card yet, and I was like, there's gonna be cards that say like when the unit's destroyed, put the pilot in your hand because Gundams have self-eject buttons. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I have to imagine there's gonna be some sort of loop you could kind of do eventually with like the different unicorn modes and like Vonager. There's gonna be more than one version of every pilot by like the second year. There's no way there's only gonna be one Vonager for like a super long time. So there's definitely gonna be some things you can do with this. But right now, I think it's just like kind of like okay value. I like this Gundam though. A 4-3 is the biggest natural AP we've seen from a blue unit though. Gun tank. This is like my favorite design because instead of just being like, here's a tank to normal people, we're expecting unicorn era stuff to appear in STO2. Okay. I wonder if there'd be this like different cards for the same pilots in the first starter decks though. I could maybe see like Bonager, a different Bonager in the starter deck and the first set, maybe. Maybe not in the like maybe not both in the starter deck though. Okay, so is first set. So maybe the starter deck will have a different one that like has an effect that does something that's cool. Yeah. I like instead of just giving somebody a normal tank, they were like, here's a tank that we stuck half of a robot onto. I don't know. This is from the first set. It's a level 2 1 cost. The Chad tank. It's a 1-2. Kind of small AP. This is not as good as the unit we saw earlier that was a 2-2 at level 2. When you deploy it, deploy just means play. Choose one rested enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. I like this better than the command card at least, because at least this is gonna stay out. It's only 1 cost, it's level 2. If you're doing this in combination with like the Amuro gun cannon or like Amuro Gundam plan, yeah, it kind of sucks that you can't give this like it can't link, so it can't attack the turn you play it. I still think it feels better than the command because like at least you're gonna hopefully get more use out of the card. I could see this coming in clutch in like really specific scenarios when you get to like 5 resources or something and you're like, okay, Gundam, Amuro, attack, rest the thing, gun tank. Like I can see what they're going for. Man, all these like deal 1 damage to a rested unit, I kind of wish they were all 2 cost, deal 2 damage. Okay, so 1-year war fed cards seem to be sort of counters to 1-year war Xeon cards, which makes sense. Flavor. Flavor is important because my worry is that like if you run into a person also playing blue repair, and repair might be in other colors already, I'm not sure. 1 damage basically is meaningless, but 2 damage at least kind of it feels more balanced against the 1 repair if you're not able to kill things. So I kind of wish these were all 2 cost, 2 damage. And making it a 1-2 would be fine to me then. I like this more than the command. Throw out a second gun tank. I mean, that's true. Maybe a third or a fourth. Alright, we've got the G Fighter. If my Gundam history and knowledge from when I was like 10 years old, this is the plane that goes inside the Gundam. Maybe. Or maybe that's the G Core, right? I can't remember what anything's called. This is from the main set as well. This is a level 3/4/2 unit. It's a 3/2 with a white base team trait link. And deploy, choose one of your white base units. It gains high maneuver during this turn. This unit can't be blocked. Okay. I kind of like that. Although I like it because it's my playstyle, but a lot of the white base stuff so far rest your enemy units anyway, so do they even need unblockable? Like, I don't know. I feel like if you're playing a deck that's sole purpose is to rest your enemy units, this effect becomes kind of pointless. Unless they just have enough that you can't rest them all. Those were all starter decks things, though. So maybe the main set blue, you can make the token unblockable. Yeah. I'm thinking that this is more a hint of what the main set white base cards are going to do, which is going to want to sneak past enemy units, because this doesn't, like, I wouldn't put this in the starter deck personally. Like, it's fine. Like, the effect is good. Like, not getting blocked is great, but if I'm already resting units, I don't really need to be unblockable. Like, it's kind of redundant. It can choose itself, though, if you can play it and then link it, I guess, if that's like the only thing you have out. It is one hit. Can someone remind me, because I can't remember off the top of my head, when you hit a shield, if it's a unit underneath, does that unit do damage back to you? Or is there just like no effect unless it says burst? Okay, so that's different than Digimon, because Digimon do damage back if they're in the security. What's up, Doombringer? How are you doing? How are you doing? We're recording a video going through all the Gundam cards that they've shown for the beta product. We're still in blue. We're moving along. Yeah, I don't know. This is like my kind of card, and like I can see it being useful, but with all the resting effects we've seen in blue so far, it feels kind of redundant. Alright, we're at Lotto. Another unit. This is from the main product as well. It at least works with Kai Hayato. Yeah, that's true. There's a level 2 for 2 cost. Earth Federation trait as its link, and it's a 2/2. The other 2 cost level 2, or the 1 cost level 2s we've seen, that was like vanilla, you'll pick the one that has the link you want, essentially. I know in the deck building guide they said like they recommend 30 units that are level 3 and below, and like I don't know. That's probably around the correct number, but that feels like so many to me. We do have 2 people who are like very, very knowledgeable about the game so far, so I'm curious what you guys think are the correct like ratios for units right now, but and below cards from memory. Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure 24 to 31, 16 or so from level 3. Really? I swear it was more. Okay. I don't know why I remember them being like 30 units below level 3. 16 below level, 16 3 or lower makes sense. 16 level 3 or below makes sense. I mean, I would just play the one that has the link trait you want. They're gonna die. You want the effect of like being able to attack quickly, or the pilot effect. Pretty simple. Hope everyone's having 1 cost drops can come up a lot. Yeah. I would err on the side of like the lowest cost link that's useful for the deck is like, maybe we don't have all those right now for all the archetypes, but I'm sure by the time the full set comes out, we will. So this is the RX-78-2 Gundam from the main set. Also, hello everyone. Hello YouTube. I hope you're having a good night or time wherever you are. Feel free to comment what your favorite Gundam series is. I don't know what mine is, so I don't know why I asked that question. All the vanilla Gundams can be dropped on the list right now, level 4 and above. Yeah, that makes sense. Play at a level 1, turn 1, play out 2 units on turn 2, turn 3, they're down to 4 shields. That's going to be pretty rough. Yeah, that's like a pretty aggressive start. I mean, that's basically Rookie Rush in Digimon, right? Which doesn't really work in the game anymore, but if you just keep hitting them, they'll die, it turns out. So this is the set 1 Gundam. Level 4 2 cost, so cost 1 less than the starter deck one, but it's vanilla, so has no effect. Still a link with Amuro Ray, and it's a 3/4. He and Zonda's matches is up down to literally swing all level 3 and below. I don't know, like, wouldn't you just rather play the 4AP is pretty big. I'm assuming you would do some kind of split with the starter deck Gundam in that case. Maybe like a 3-3 or like a 4-2, whichever way. Especially once you have a pilot, the HP will get like pretty good. And repair only heals itself, right? You could play two of these on turn 4 if you have them both in hand. I was gonna say if repair was any unit, that would be like pretty nice with this. Just as like a consistent like beater. It's nice with like Kai, heal 3. That's pretty hard to get through. There's 3 units that heal other units. Yeah. I like this. We're early enough in the game where like you're gonna play these vanilla units in a couple years. You're never gonna see these anymore. There's just gonna be things that cost the same amount that have effects, but it's early days. Play these while you can. Ball. Love it. Just ball. It's a level 1/1 cost. So if you are going first and it's your first turn, you can play this. It's a 1/1 with the effect on attack. Choose one of your units. It recovers 1 HP. So this is one of the ones that we were just mentioning can heal other units. Yeah, it's just vanilla cards in general. They're always gonna go away. Appreciate the nice art on them without the text covering them while we can. Yeah, I feel like you play this. Basically, I'd probably play this like all the time. I feel like especially in free for all, that 1 HP difference probably would come up more often than you think it does. Yeah, seems fine. Until we get like a 1 cost recover 3 or something, but you can play it early. It doesn't have blocker or anything, but like, hey, if they don't get rid of it and you like, yeah, but it doesn't stick around. Like, I could see scenarios where people playing casually won't think this is a big deal, and you'll just keep attacking, and they'll just block with their blocker, and you'll keep healing. Like, I don't know. I can see that happening. Yeah, I mean, healing 1, it's interesting. I could see this being better when the full set comes out. Maybe right now it's not like super good. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, Jagan. Another unit from the main set. This is a level 3 2 cost, 2/3. While you have 2 or more Earth Federation units in play, this card in your hand costs 1 less. Generally, the heal 1 ain't saving you from whatever your opponent at, so you kind of healing requires a blocker for backup. That makes sense. This is interesting. I kind of wish the white base doesn't make. If white base made Earth Federation units, I'd probably like this a lot more. Because I feel like it'd be a little... I mean, I'm sure setting this up isn't that hard, but like, is this good? I'm so conflicted on this card. I really like the art. So I'm gonna like make a weird prediction right now. And this might not end up being true. And this is more about the game in the future than like the beta product, because I don't think it's true for the beta product. It's only useful against the other bad blue cards. So far, the few cards I've seen from the other colors and all the blue cards that I've seen so far, this feels like it's a game where they're designing it for synergy and not single powerful things. Now, I don't think that's true for the beta, but I honestly would be surprised after the first set came out if it wasn't like everyone was building for synergies and not for single beater cards, which tends to be how Bandai games work. At least like Digimon and One Piece work this way. Those games don't really have single cards that win you the game. They're all synergy decks where you have to play 10 cards to get to like the one card that wins you the game. So that's my current theory, is that the game's going to be a lot more synergy based by the time we get to like sets 2 and 3 and all the colors are out. Yeah. I fully expect eventually there to be cards that are like maybe a base. I fully expect eventually there to be a card that's like whenever you heal or repair a unit, increase the number by 1. Like that's gonna happen one day, or increase it by 2 or something. Like that's definitely gonna be a thing. Maybe not anytime soon, but that will be a card one day. Yeah, I like the art. I like the Jagan's design. Jigan. Oh my god. Words are hard. Alright. Ooh. Okay. The Roselle. I also like this mobile suits design. It bothers me so much that the cards are called units and not mobile suits, but I understand why, but it bothers me a little bit. So this is the level 3 2 cost 4/3. Wait. Yeah, I would just rather play this every time probably, if I'm being honest. It has no effect, but it's big. Like this will probably take out things earlier in the game. No link unit though, but this doesn't have a link unit either. Like this, yeah, I'd just rather play this. I don't know what my wife's doing. Yeah, this is cool. I'm not even gonna say anything else. This is cool. I like it. Okay, here's Bonager. This is from the main set as well, a level 5 1 cost. Yeah, I'm gonna design so that you can play the Unicorn mode Unicorn Gundam at the same time. Makes sense. It has the burst, add this card to your hand effect, so if it's in your shield area and the shield gets taken out, it will go to your hand. Gives +2/+2. I think this is the highest like balance stat buff. I think there might be one that's like higher on one end or the other, but I think this is this the highest balanced one? Level 5 pilot. I mean, I'm sure eventually there will be like a level 6 pilot. I don't know what they would do. Is the only 2/2 pilot? Okay. And their paired effect is if this is the link unit, draw 1 card. Yeah, it'll be like 3/1 or something, right? Or is there a 3/2? If this is paired specifically with Unicorn, right? It draws a card. I mean, the thing is, right now, if like your top end Gundam has a Link pilot, I can't imagine why you wouldn't play the Link pilot. So if you're playing Unicorn as your top end, and maybe you're only playing like 1 or 2, you're probably playing Manager. +2/+2 is like pretty good. I mean, you want to draw the card, but I think like, especially in the beta edition, we live in a world where we're living in magical Christmas land right now. We don't have the card pool to like be as selective as we would like to be. But yeah, draw 1 card. They have to give us more unicorns in the first set too. Like they have to give us at least destroy mode, because he uses destroy mode in the first movie. Like that'd be so weird if we didn't get destroy mode. I would probably like, if I wasn't playing Unicorn, I wouldn't play Bandager at all. But if I'm playing Unicorn, I'd maybe run like 1 Bandager on the off chance I have both in my hand when I have 5 resources. And that's basically it. I would not play like very many of him right now. If they give us more unicorns, maybe. I could see blue getting like, maybe another color has this already. I could see blue getting like, cares about how many cards are in your hand. Maybe. This is the alt art. The alt art is good. Hopefully they give us destroy mode in the background. I'd be pretty happy with this alt art, even if I didn't run the card that often. Alright, we got another pilot, Ride Arcanus. Yeah. I mean, like in the future, I could see like blue getting that, where it cares about cards in your own hand. So a level 3 1 cost pilot that gives +1/+1. Why does this card have the like red chevrons on the +1 to indicate that its inherited effect is if this unit has repair, it gets AP +1? to just tell you that like that number could change. That's kind of like a little bit of a weird design choice for me. First, add this card to your hand. The other cards with it has that as well. So if like the pilot effect gives you plus AP or plus AP, it has the little red chevrons. I guess that's neat. I don't necessarily need it, but it's like a good cue for new people if you're playing repair units, I guess. I mean, so far Amuro feels like the pilot that I would put four of in. Well, there's gotta be like there's definitely gonna be Earth Federation Link units or like Link requirements in the full set, but yeah, I don't know. Like at least in the beta, like just I've Amuro. Amuro is the only one so far where I'm like, okay, this is cool. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Intercept orders. So this is from the main set. Yeah, that's my thinking as well, Zonda. So a level 4, 2 cost command. This has burst, so if it's in your shield area and that shield gets destroyed, you choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. That's the same effect as Amuro, if I remember correctly. And then you can play this during main or action steps, phase, whatever the wording is, from your hand. You choose one enemy unit with 3 or less HP and rest them. Two enemy units. Okay, interesting. So they're like actually fairly different effects, or like you'd want them at very different stages of the game, is what it feels like. I mean, I already said I'm a fan of resting units. Resting 2 units with 3 HP or less is pretty nice. I guess it just depends on, yeah, what point of the game you're at. Like, I'm sure units with 3 or less HP come up, but by the time you're level 4, is your opponent just playing like 4 HP, a 4 HP unit, and then linking it, and then attacking you, and then this isn't really like doing anything. I kind of like it a little bit better from your shield, but like that's random. A good chunk of level 4 units have 3 HP. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I kind of like this. I mean, like, anything that is like decent from burst is okay in my book. A show of resolve. This one's really simple. So it's a level 4 3 cost, draw 2. 7 total level 4 cards have 3 HP normally. Okay, interesting. 3 cost, draw 2. My worry is if you're playing this, you're losing. But maybe I'm wrong. You need to draw cards, obviously. There's a huge difference between, oh god, I'm playing this because I have nothing in my hand, versus I'm chilling, I'm already winning, I'm gonna draw 2 cards. Like, this card is either you're losing or you're winning and you're BMing your opponent by drawing more cards. And I can't really imagine an in-between. So in this game, draw 2 is turn 4, kind of 3 cost. Okay, interesting. This is just the alt art. It has a good alt art though. Side 7, so this is the other blue base in the beta product. It's a level 1 cost, 0 4 HP. First, deploy this card. Deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand, so the standard, and then activate main, rest this base, choose 1 friendly unit, it recovers 1 HP. There's gonna be a card one day, I promise, that says, if you would recover HP, cover that much plus 1. There's no way that card won't exist one day. It feels like you need to use 3 cards to recover HP to make a difference. Being punched turn 1. Yeah. I could see myself playing this turn 1 when we get the effects that increase how much you recover. Because you do get another card in your hand. It gives you technically a better shield. Like, maybe, but we need effects that increase your recovery rate, essentially. Alright, now we are on to the green cards in the beta product. So let's get started with the first one, Wing Gundam. This was the very first Gundam series I saw, because I'm from the 90s, I'm old. And then I went back and watched all the older stuff, because I really liked giant robots punching each other in the face. So this is a level 6 4 cost. So this is the highest cost unit we have. This is from the second starter deck. It is a 4/5 with a link for Hero Yui. Its main pilot makes sense. It has Breach 5. So this is what Breach does. When this unit's attack destroys an enemy unit, deal the specified amount of damage to a card in that opponent's shield area. So this is piercing from Digimon. Yeah, yeah. And I know that this breach was fact to say you still breach even if your unit with breach dies in combat. I'm 99% positive that's the ruling. So, if you're attacking something that's rested, or if you get blocked and you destroy each other, you still breach 5. But also a reminder that I feel like they should put in the way the mechanic works. Breach 5 does not destroy 5 shields. A shield only has 1 HP, but you can only destroy 1 shield at a time for now. That could change in the future. We might get effects that let you destroy more than 1 shield at once. But if the base has 5 HP, you would destroy the base. And then it has this unit may choose an active enemy unit that is level 4 or lower as its attack target. So normally in Bandai games in general, you can only attack units when they're horizontal or rested or tapped if you play Magic. It's my Otis Von Wax, EX4 and hair rollable, EX1. But this you can attack units that are vertical or active. These kinds of cards are usually pretty good if the game ends up being a later game type of game. Like in a meta, if the meta is level 2 and below unit rush, this is probably too slow, but if the first set and later becomes you're getting to level 6, level 7 before the game ends, these cards tend to be like okay. Yeah, it's Wing Gundam. It's the original. I can't imagine Wing Zero won't be in the first set. Is it in the beta? No, it's not, right? We have artwork for it. Okay. Oh, I think I've seen it. Yeah, I'm curious what that one does. If you're playing the green ramp deck, I don't know why you wouldn't play this, because you'll get here faster than level 6, and then you're basically pew-pewing everything. Like, Breach is good. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, it's like if you get here before turn 6, you're probably winning. They let you get here. Attacking things that are active is like insane in these kinds of games. And this is the alt art. I really like this art. I mentioned earlier I'm a sucker for Gundam standing there art, so it's pretty good. Right, here's the bird mode for Wing Gundam. So this is a level 3 for 3, 2/2. Still linking with Hero Yui. The creator event gave a playmat with the Wing Gundam art on. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, obviously, like, I wish I could have been invited to that, but I'm so new to the TCG world that, like, people deserved going more than me. So I'm happy so many people got to go. Although, I do know someone that works at NASA. I could have snuck in. Deploy, place 1 EX resource. So EX resource is a temporary resource. Once you use it, it's gone. If you're playing the Wing Gundam, you're playing this to get to Wing Gundam faster. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, if you're playing a green deck right now, I'd probably just play this. The more things you can do in a turn over your opponent, it's basically good in every card game that's ever existed. Ramp. Maganak is from the starter deck still. It's a only if you get it turn 3. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like ramp in any card game. If you get ramp on turn 6, it's like win more. You want to see it early. This game does have a mulligan, so I would even like mulligan for it probably, depending on what my first hand is. Level 2, 2 cost, 3/2, Maganak Corpse. This will come up. I know this will come up. I mean, it's basically a better 2 cost level 2 than Blue got, essentially. Like you're just gonna it's gonna hit slightly in or above its weight class a lot of the time. We'll play these vanillas right now. Seems fine. I know that there's a synergy card coming up, so alright, so here's Hero. It is a pilot level 4 1 cost with first put it in your hand if it was in your shield and the shield got destroyed, +2/+1 with the red chevrons, which means its pilot effect is this unit gets +1 AP +1 HP while linked. So yeah, so on the Wing Gundam, this is like insane. It's interesting that this one doesn't follow the like same level cost, what's left of that level, as the blue unit pilot pairings did. But if you're level 6, you can do both. They will, yeah, you're gonna do it on turn 4. Yeah, bird mode for 3 cost 3, level 4, 1 cost hero. Yeah. I was thinking more like the normal Wing Gundam, but yeah, 7 AP, 7 HP swing into active units seems kind of good. I'm not gonna lie. If you're playing Wing Gundam, play hero. Simultaneous Fire is a command pilot combo, level 4, 1 cost. The command effect is main, choose one of your units, it gains breach 3 during this turn, get some punch through, and Troa Barton, Operation Meteor, +1/+1. Does breach stack? But you would still only destroy one shield, right? So I don't know how like useful that is right now. Okay. But you would never need like, you wouldn't need breach 8 right now, right? There's no base that has 8 HP, I would imagine. Okay. But it's stacking 3 and 2. Okay. Yeah. And just the generic pilot. Being able to punch through and like hit a shield when you're being blocked or attacking a rested unit probably comes up. Peaceful Timber. Another command pilot combo. This has such high quality command pilots. I think that's partially because I think it's two things. I think it's because we have such a limited card pool, maybe we're missing things that like make the recovery part of blue way better. Maybe. And the other thing is I think people tend to lean towards aggressive strategies when a set or a game comes out. Especially like we're seeing such a limited number of cards that I think we're all leaning even more into it. Yeah. The linking stuff just goes back to my comment earlier around like this is going to be a game that's way more about synergy in the end, like when the set comes out and like set 2 and 3 come out, than it is about like having one strong thing. That's true. That's like part of the balance of it for sure. So the action for this command is during this battle, your shield area cards can't receive damage from enemy units that are 4 or lower. Quattro Rabarba winner, +1/+1. So a generic +1/+1 pilot. This is interesting to me. And I know that this is like a Bandai thing, and this is like one of the things I kind of struggle with Bandai games, is that they're all archetype based. We don't have confirmation if this works on the final hit for the game. And Quattro is a pacifist, basically. So flavorfully this makes sense, but I wish it was on a blue card. I wish blue was, I'm gonna heal, I'm gonna protect my protect my shields with these commands, and I'm gonna whittle you down slowly. I kind of wish is how blue worked, but it's on a green card. Although you can play 2 color decks, so I could see like a blue-green deck being like a little defensive, although I would say that like the best defensive stuff is probably in white right now from what I've seen. I like this, but I think that this will become more important as we get more Quattro stuff like in mini sets. Kind of this like pacifist style of play. Alright, the first green base from the starter deck, St. Gabriel Institute. A level 2 cost, 5 HP base. When first deploy this card, and then when you deploy, you add one of your shields to your hand, so standard effect. Then you look at the top 2 cards of your deck and return 1 to the top and 1 to the bottom. So it's not card advantage, it's just like card selection essentially. Like you'll know what your next draw will be. If you combine this with another color that draws you cards for really cheap, like that's cool. But on its own, it's like it's fine. I'm fairly interested in like a green blue deck. It just like it doesn't do this doesn't really do enough on its own. You need a second color to draw you the card basically. It's 5 HP. Honestly, like I would just ignore what it says and read 5 HP. So potentially it's 2 hits depending on the color you're up against. Is kind of how I'm reading it right now. If we get really cheap card draw effects, then like maybe the card selection will be worth it, but right now it's kind of I'd probably switch it for a different base. A Zaku 1, easy. Oh my god. Level 1, 1 cost, 1/2. You'll play it in your Xeon deck. I'm sure the synergy will matter eventually. Oh, my cat's trying to walk over here. Hello, Chopper. A 1/2 is pretty small, but it's better than the ball. We can agree it's better than the ball, but we can move on from this. Yeah, it's better than the other one drops at level 1. Zaku 2, so it requires level 2. Doesn't get bounced or killed by things that hurt 1 HP units. Yeah, this is a 1/2, so it's the exact same stats, but it has an effect. So on attack, this unit gets +2 AP during this turn. That actually doesn't seem terrible. It doesn't get killed by things that do the 1 damage thing, just like you said. Next turn when it attacks, it's a 3/2, and then like I can imagine a world where it's like turn 3 or 4, you give this breach 3, you attack whatever dinky unit your enemy played that turn with a 3/2, and you breach 3. Seems fine for like an aggro deck. I'm into it. Char Aznabal. Aznabal? Aznabal? I don't know why I can't remember how to pronounce any of these words. This is the pilot from starter deck 3. So this is the level 3 1 cost pilot with the normal burst effect to add it to your hand, +1/+1 AP HP, and then its pilot ability is attack. During this turn, this unit gets AP +1, and if it is a link unit, it gains high maneuver. I'm checking if, okay, neither of those are a link with Char. Okay, so starter 1 is blue-white, 2 is green unknown, 3 is red-green, 4 is white unknown. Interesting. One of them's gotta be, I mean, it's gotta be green, blue, white, red, I guess, would be my guess. High maneuver means they can't be blocked. I would need to see what they link with, to be honest. I mean, on attack during the turn, getting +1 AP, so it becomes a +2/+1. I mean, I guess even on like the Zaku 2, that's like not bad. That's like a pretty big AP on a level 2 unit when it's attacking. I'm curious what it links with. Here's the alt art. I don't know how I feel about this alt art. I know Char's supposed to be pretty, but this is like almost too pretty for me. AP increases only on your turn. Okay. They definitely seem like very aggro, like you said. So here's the 3rd starter deck base. Thalmel, level 3 2 cost, 5 HP again. So let's see if this is better than the 2nd starter deck base. First, deploy this card. Deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand. Then if it's your turn, deploy 1 rested Char Zaku 2 Xeon AP 3 HP 1 unit token. So you get it rested AP 3 HP 1 on your turn. Interesting. And it doesn't have a link, right? Char can't link with it. It can't attack anyway. The interesting thing about this is that this is all going to come down to like synergy traits in the future, because if I'm playing a 2-color deck, which with the beta product you basically have to play a 2-color deck, I don't know why I wouldn't just pick white base if I'm like in a white deck, because isn't white base just like the better version of this? Or maybe I'm thinking about it incorrectly. Depends. Okay. I'd be so worried that I guess like no, okay. No, that's fair. Yeah, and 2 to use. Yeah, bases die in one hit. And I wasn't considering that, like, if you get this rested 3-1, if your opponent attacks this and kills it instead of doing something else, like, that's probably good for you, actually. Like, if it saves something else, or if, like, they're not attacking your shield because maybe you have more breach in your hand or something. I can definitely see the use for this. So here's the first Char Link unit. So Char Zaku 2. This is from the first set, not any of the starter decks. This is a level 3 2 cost. It is a 3-2 with Link Char Aznable, and during pair, when it's destroyed, deploy one rested, same unit as the base, a 3-1 Char Zaku 2 unit token. So it replaces itself essentially, but you can't use it until the next turn. I don't think they do, but eventually a color is going to get unrest your unit. Every Bandai game basically has ways to unrest things. Yeah, this seems pretty good. I mean, it replaces itself. Anything that replaces itself is just like more stuff for your opponent to deal with. So I'm pretty happy with this. And I guarantee eventually, maybe it won't be in green because they want you to play a second color, but we haven't seen basically anything of red, and we basically have confirmation that there's a fifth color. I could see one of those colors having things that like unrest unit token, unrest thing that's level 2 or lower so it can attack again or something. Like, that's gonna come eventually, just depends on what color it's in. So eventually I could see this being like attack, take out a blocker, it dies, you get the rested unit, unrest the rested unit, attack the shield. Like, there's going to be things that you can do with this that's going to be pretty useful. This is the alt art. Pretty good alt art. 4-3, that is 5 AP when attacking. It seems solid. I like it. Okay, so here's where the Maganaut core stuff comes in. So this is Gundam Sandrock, a level 5 for 3 cost. So I'm kind of comparing this to Unicorn, since it's like basically the equivalent, right? It is a 4-4, so it's bigger, I think. And on deploy, you may deploy one 4-3 was Unicorn. Okay, so it's a bigger booty. You may deploy one Maganaut core unit card from your hand. That's for free, right? And then its link is Quattro. You would have the command pilot cards that defend your shield. And this is from the first set, so there might be at least one other Maganaut core unit in the first set, I imagine. At least one more. This seems pretty good. I could see this being like actually like pretty good once the full set comes out, if we get more Maganaut core units, because like it's a free body and you can probably link it the turn you play it pretty easily. Yeah, for sure. I could see that too. This seems good. This kind of goes back to my comment at the very earlier when I was saying like I don't really know how I feel about the 6 unit thing, 6 unit limit, because like it feels so easy to get past 6 units. Or like it feels like there's so many things that make unit tokens that being limited to 6 feels kind of awkward for me, but that's just like a personal problem. I like this card. I could definitely, you'll often be at only 3 units on board. Okay. I could see this being like almost a build around once there's enough like Maganaut core and like, yeah, this is cool. I like this. Rick Dom, still in the main set. I think the rest of the green cards should be from the main set. This is a level 3 2 cost unit. That's a 3-3 and no link pilot, so you can't give it haste, and it has breach 2. So this is one of the cards that would get you to breach 5 if you played the breach 3 command. The thing is, it's interesting because the base makes breach a black clear time just so they can avoid doing a black tri-star link. Yeah. In my head, if you have the option, you would never attack with this when the base is there. You would clear the base, and then you would attack with this to breach 2 and take out the next shield. I don't know. To me, like, breach the number is fine. Ideally, the breach could be 1 on all the breach cards because you're ideally just hitting the shields and not the base. I mean, I guess 2 damage isn't nothing, but you really you want to be attacking directly to the shields with this. We've got the Gelgoog, a level 4 2 cost. That is a 4/3 with the Xeon trait as a link. I don't know. I'd almost just want to play the level 3 Zaku 2s over this. It ends up basically being the same. 4/3 stat line is good. It takes things out, right? But it's pretty easy to take out. You do need to play a lot of units. So, yeah, clears everything without having. This feels like a 1-for-1 card. You're playing it to take something out, knowing that it's probably gonna take out. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a okay. It's like a 1-for-1 card kind of. Gundam Heavy Arms. One of my favorite Gundams is Gundam Heavy Arms custom from the Endless Waltz movie. So I hope we get some Endless Waltz stuff one day, maybe in a couple years. This is a level 4 2 cost unit. That's a 3/4, so the opposite of what we just saw. On par, but yeah, opposite stat lines. During pair, this unit gains Breach 3, so that's paired with anything, but its link is Troa Barton, which is the other green command card green command pilot card that we saw. I mean, again, it's fine. It's more Breach. I feel like green feels a lot more straightforward than blue. If it's linked, it will probably survive a decent amount of going into a blocker. Green just feels very, very straightforward to me, which isn't a bad thing, but compared to blue, it's swing, just keep hitting until they're dead. Some people like that playstyle. It's good to have. This is the main set Wing Gundam. So a level 5 2 cost, vanilla 4/3 with Hero Yui as its link. So if it's linked with Hero Yui, it's big. If it's linked with Hero Yui, it's big. That's all I got. Hey Sayonara, how are you doing? 7 AP, 5 HP. And then you give this Breach 3. Green just wants you to attack. This is what I'm understanding. I feel like green could have used less HP, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's the Gelgoog stat line, but 1 level higher. Yeah, we're looking at the Gundam Beta full card reveals now. I mean, yeah, a 7 AP, 5 HP is just gonna destroy anything, basically. So, I kind of wish green had less HP, to be honest. Because it feels like they want them to be so aggressive, but they end up being kind of having big booties too once they're piloted up, compared to blue that can't kill anything and has the same size booty. It's kind of weird, but maybe that'll change when the full set comes out. It's low, but if it's linked, with Hero a 7/5, 5's pretty good. But I guess yeah, 3's low if they don't have the Hero. Alright, we've got Shenlong Gundam, Dragon Firearm Gundam. This is a level 4 3 cost. They died to an unpiloted Gelgoog. That's true. That's very true. This has a 4/3 stat line. Its link is Changwu Fei, and then it has Breach 3. More Breach. I have to say, the green units feel very samey compared to the blue units. Because at least blue was kind of mixed between I heal myself or I rest you. Green is very I attack you, you die, I breach. Hopefully when the full set comes out, it won't feel so samey. If you're playing green, this is your level 4, probably your main level 4 right now, I would imagine. It gets the same stats as the Gelgoog. I mean, blue gets tokens too, though. I think everything's gonna get tokens in the end, but I guess for me, gaining AP and breaching are just so close to not the result, but the function is the same. For sure. That's what I was saying before, is oh, and also ramp. Yeah, they have ramp. So ramp and attack, basically. Yeah, they have ramp. That's true. Green just feels very straightforward to me, which again is like what people will gravitate towards with such a small card pool. So it makes sense. Alright, here's the pilot for Shenlong, Chong Wufei. It is a level 4 1 cost. With the normal burst, put the card in your hand, gives +2/+1. And its pilot effect is during your turn, if this unit has breach, it can't receive battle damage from any unit with 3 or less AP. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Wait. That doesn't have to be on the Shenlong, right? That can, or does that have to be on the Shenlong? Pilot effects just work no matter what, don't they? Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. That's actually, cause like, oh my god. You just take out anything that's like small and you breach and like your thing doesn't get hurt. Just imagine eventually when the game has unrest this unit and you have a breach unit with Chong Wufei. We're gonna get, when you destroy a unit, unrest a unit effects. It's gonna be like Chong Wufei, breach unit, attack, destroy a unit, unrest it, attack, destroy a unit, destroy 2 shields. That's gonna happen. If you're playing Breach, play 4 of this. This is kind of nuts. I'm kind of shocked. I need to drink water. Ooh, did they just show a card? All right, we've got a command for Citizens Take a Stand. This is a level 4 1 cost command. First, you add this card to your hand. Main, all your units get AP +2 during this turn. Yeah, this is like the Alpha Strike, basically. This is like, you have some of the smaller breach units. They're not big enough to take things out that have like blocker and stuff. You do this, they either can't block or they block and you still take them out. Yeah, this is just like a aggro utility piece. Do a Maxwell had a rolling coast and something that has an effect that basically says this unit can't have its AP reduced. Sadly, Duo ain't in the beta. Are there things that reduce AP in the beta? Because that means there's going to be things that reduce AP too. 2 cards. I have a strange feeling, especially since the first set's going to add a whole nother color, that this game is going to play way differently when the first set's out than it plays with the beta. The best color still might be the best color from like what I know. We've got another command, First Contact. Level 3, 3 cost. From burst, you place 1 EX resource, and main, you place 1 rested resource. So it's actually a little bit better if it comes from your shield area. Green Show of Resolve. Basically, they're like, this is what the color's about. But god awful. I mean, it's like okay in your shield area, but like, you'd probably rather have the bird mode, right? I'd maybe play like 1 or 2 depending on what else I was doing, but I'd play 4 bird modes before I played this. And alt art. I know a lot of people like this alt art, but for me it's like a little not my style, a little bit. You have to have board presence already to like be able to play that on level 3 essentially. Alright, here we go. Now we're on the 3rd and final color of the beta product, white. This is going way longer than I thought it would, but that's okay, because giant robots. No one should complain. Alright, we've got the unit from the one of the white units from the first starter deck. So this goes along with the blue starter deck one, because that one is blue-white. So this is Gundam Aerial Bit on Form. I don't know why that looks so... that's such a weird thing to say. This is a level 4 2 cost, vanilla 3/4 with the link for Suletta Mercury. I mean, those aren't bad stats for 2 cost, depending on like what Suletta does and like what other white cards do. Do your pilot colors have to match your unit colors? I don't think so. Yeah. So yeah, this could be interesting. Like I would maybe just stick Amuro in here if I don't have the Gundam. I don't know. That's cool. This is one of my favorite Gundam shows. So we've got the Demi Trainer. This is a level 1 1 cost 1/1 with blocker. So this is better than the ball. The ball healed when it attacked. This just blocks. This has to be better than the ball. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why white is so good in the beta edition of the game, because blocker in Bandai games is so important. it's so hugely important at the very early stages of when Bandai games come out that I kind of dislike it, but it feels like every deck just needs white as its second color. Just for like blocker. Just to like defend and like basically have agency for like what's getting attacked and stuff. That's exactly what I'm saying. They can't hear me because of the ad, but alright. We've got Suletta Mercury, a level 4 1 cost pilot that gives +1/+2, the usual burst, add this card to your hand effect, and its pilot ability is on attack once per turn. Choose one of your resources, set it as active. This is like meant to combo with like the green rested resource. Also, I said the exact thing you said about Blocker, Zonda. Blocker is so important at the early stages of Bandai games that like I almost don't like that white's the only color that has it right now. I'm sure the other colors will get it eventually, but it just feels so necessary this early in the game. Choose one of your resources, set it as active. I mean, like, that's good. That's basically pseudo ramp. Honestly, it's better than the green command card. I think they obviously meant it to like kind of pair with the green command card, because if you're level 4, you can, and you already have aerial out, you can do both. You can play the green command and play Suletta and attack. That's like kind of weird sequencing. +2 HP is good too. I mean, getting extra resources, no one's ever gonna complain about that. I do like this alt art though. The aerial alt art, or the Witch from Mercury alt art's all my favorite so far. So this is the God, Astacasia School of Technology, Earth House. This is the Witch from Mercury base, the Academy base, level 2, 1 cost. First, deploy this card. Deploy, add one of your shields to your hand, and activate main. Rest this base. All friendly link units get +1 AP during this turn. So this means that they have to have their link pilot, right? I mean, this is obviously impossible to pull off in the beta set. This is just more proof that this game is going to become a synergy game, where in a couple years, your deck's not going to be a green-white deck. It's going to be an Academy deck. And everything in your deck is going to care about linking Academy stuff, or whatever. Have only 4 AP without this card's effect. Yeah. This doesn't feel like it does enough right now. Aerial is 4/6 with Suletta. Yeah. I can see why this is like pretty bad right now. I think that this card is just proof that the game is going to turn into you're playing the Academy archetype, and that's why it's in your deck. What's the one good thing? Okay, Academy trait cards are only Academy trait, not specific pilots generally. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's kind of like what I mean, is like, when the full set comes out, it might be easier to always have like a few link units with that card, although I still don't know if that's like enough. But alright, we've got the starter deck 4 here. This is the Ale Strike Gundam, level 5, 4 cost. I'm gonna be honest, Seed or Gundam Seed is my least favorite series by like a very, very long mile. But the cards might be cool. But I probably will never build a deck with Seed stuff in it if I can help it. So this is a 4/4 with Kira Yamato as its link pilot, and then it has blocker because it's a white card. And then when paired with a level 4 or higher pilot, choose one enemy unit with 4 or less HP, return it to its owner's hand. Yeah, this card seems kind of insane. Why did the unit with the best blocker stats get bounce a unit with 4 or less HP to its owner's hand? Like, this seems like too much. You can replay it, but it's like, it still feels like too much. I would have removed the blocker from this and just had it bounce the card personally, but it is what it is. I hope in the first set the other colors at least get like one blocker, because I don't like the idea of white being the only color with blocker. This art is cool though, even though I don't like this Gundam design or the series. This is good art. I can be unbiased for a second. Pilots go with the unit back to hand. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the idea is like you'd be bouncing like the thing with blockers, so you can just attack the shield, probably. But yeah, it's definitely like situational. It's a tempo card. Digimon and One Piece and this game all kind of follow the same templating and like card structure. Some of the words are different. Like instead of burst, Digimon cards say security. Instead of breach, Digimon has pierce. So like some of the words are different, but the effects are usually extremely like similar on how they work. The biggest difference with Gundam compared to those other games is it has instant speed cards that you can play at 2 different times during your opponent's turn. It has more typical like TCG ramp effects and things like that. And it wants you to like pair specific pilots with specific uh mechs, although you don't have to. So this is the another starter deck 4 unit. This is a level 4 2-cost strike Gundam, the lesser version of the one we just looked at essentially. So when you deploy, you draw 1 card and discard 1 card, and then it's a 3/3. And Kira Yamato is its Link pilot. So I know this synergizes with other things White wants to do, because White wants command cards and your trash. Also, this is basically just like a better version of the card draw we saw. Yeah, it does kind of feel like White got everything in the beta. I kind of hope all the White cards in the first set are bad. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this is good. I would never play it because it's from Seed, but if you're not me, you can play this card. Alright, we've got the Strike Dagger, level 2 2-cost. Really quickly, like on that kind of note that like Digimon, One Piece, and Gundam are similar enough, even though they do have differences. Like for me, Digimon has the best resource system out of all of them, and it's very different. I kind of like that they're all similar because like if you play one, it's pretty easy to learn the other because so much of it's similar. There's just like key differences in each one that make them play a little differently. So this is a level 2 2-cost with no abilities, no Link pilot. That's a 3/2. I mean, I guess the 3/2 is okay. What you do is you play this in green white. You give it breach, and then you attack the rested ball they use to heal. And that's what you do with this card. It looks like a Power Ranger, so I'm just gonna say it. Okay. All right. Here's Kira. Oh god, I hate Kira. Alright, this is a level 4 1-cost pilot. That depresses me. I know Seed's popular in Japan, but I hate Kira so much. It gives +2/+1, and its pilot effect is attack, choose 1 enemy unit. It gets AP -2 during this battle. I'll never play this card. I can't play this card. That's how much I don't like Kira, but AP -2 is pretty cool. Like really good if you're attacking and they have a blocker. Just give the blocker AP -2. They probably not going to block you then. It's only during the battle, right? It's not forever. Hawk of Endymion. This is a command pilot. A level 2 1-cost. The command effect is you can either play it during your main phase or during your action phase step. I can't remember what word they use. I apologize. Choose 1 enemy unit with 3 or less HP, return it to its owner's hand. Choose 1 enemy unit with 3 or less HP, return it to... So it's another bounce card, but for less HP, or the same HP. Pair 2 with 4 HP lets you swing into 3 AP twice. Kira lets you swing up to 4 times. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm not surprised Kira's good. It just depresses me. 4 HP bounce. Okay, I thought it was more. And then Mu Laflaga pilot, a +1/+0. Like I was cool with bouncing a 4 HP unit or higher because that means you're bouncing their ail strike. Maybe 3 HP or less, +1/+0. Is that worth it? I don't know. That doesn't feel worth it to me. Who's good? Okay, interesting. I guess it's 1 cost. Does it link? You can bounce their ail strike. Isn't ail strike 4/4? Interesting. I get that the bouncing's supposed to be like tempo, or like to get rid of things so you can attack their shield area. Like any other bounce effect, like it's not permanent, it's temporary. I guess if a lot of things are 3 HP or less, I don't know. I might be being biased. Ale and Darabald are the only good bouncers. Okay. Archangel. I'm sorry. I'm really trying not to be biased, but I can't help it. It's the starter deck 4 base, level 3, 1 cost. Burst, deploy this card. Deploy, add one of your shields to your hand. Activate main once per turn. Pay 2. Choose one friendly unit with blocker. Set as that active. It can't attack during their turn. Wow, that's... what the hell? As someone who was there at the beginning of Digimon, blocker is so annoying. Especially when only one color has it. Don't worry, I'll never play this card, but I'm sure I'm gonna lose to this card all the time. They're in this, no, they're not in the same deck. This is the 4th starter deck. Yeah. I'm curious. Every card in a starter deck can't be good. That's not how starter decks work. So, if the 4th starter deck is white-red, I'm curious what, like, the red cards are gonna do. This is good. I'll never play it. Play it if you like Seed, or if you want to play it. It's here for you. Perfect Strike Gundam. So this is the first white card from the main set. It is our level 5, 3 cost. Perfect Strike is part of why Mu is good. Okay. It's a 4/4. Oh, it has Earth Alliance trait. Okay. Blocker, deploy, choose one enemy unit with 1 HP, return it to its owner's hand. This is basically to get rid of, like, some tokens, I guess. Tokens don't... That's the other thing to remember about bounce. Tokens don't go to your hand, right? They just disappear. So I feel like bouncing is good if tokens become a more prevalent strategy. Otherwise, it's like half a disruption removal card. Char, Zaku, Demi Trainer, Ball, and Gun Tank token. Yeah, I like that it's Earth Alliance trait. It means that it can link with more things. I'm sure we'll get more Earth Alliance pilots quickly. Seed is extremely popular in Japan. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like one of the main series they pull from the entire first year of the game. I can kind of only see this kind of stuff getting better. I'm still not gonna play it. Force Zid to bounce my Kuriyamato Hail Strike blockers with this card before. Nice. I do like the art though. I don't like Seed's Gundam designs though. Free heal effectively. Gundam Aerial. This is also from the main set, but it's the Witch from Mercury side. This is a level 5 3 cost as well. It's a 3/3. While there are 4 or more command cards in your trash, this card your hand costs 2 less. Link with Suletta Mercury. It just doesn't really do anything. Here's the thing. The Suletta we have is from the starter deck, right? This card entirely depends on what the Suletta in the main set does, because there's gonna be one. If Suletta in the main set has a good pilot effect, this card will probably be good. But right now, it just doesn't do anything. It's just it's a 1 cost. You can play 4 of them when you hit level 5, and like that's whatever. This card will entirely depend on the effect Suletta has from the main set, and if that pilot effect is not good, it has to be really good. I mean, we don't know that, because you're only thinking about the beta cards. Like, I'm talking full set. Like, full set, there's nothing that says there's not going to be cards that say, like, attack, trash 2 cards from your deck. Like, that could very highly be things that cards do. Yeah, I'm thinking future, like, full set. Even if it's, like, a few sets from now, this card still depends on having a Suletta whose pilot effect is really good. Because that's a lot of effort just for a stat boost, essentially. I want the Suletta to say, like, if you have 4 cards in your trash, do something crazy or something on attack. I don't know, but it might take some time to get there, but this is definitely going to be like a build around eventually. But we really need a good Suletta. We'll get one in the main set, but who knows what it'll do. This art is sweet though. This art is so good. I'll play it just because of the art. Yeah, I hope the full set gives Suletta a good effect to make it worth going through all this effort. God, I don't want to know how expensive the alt art cards in this game are going to be. All right, we've got Launcher Strike Gundam, level 4, 3 cost unit. Yep. Earth Alliance trait as its link pilot. 3/4 and a blocker. Is this the 4th blocker? I don't think the beta product needed 4 blockers and 1 color. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that was a design mistake. I said it. I would have much rather them done like 3 blockers plus 1 and another color that has blocker in the main set. There's no way white's the only blocking color in the first set. Like that would actually be very bad, but we'll see. Honestly, you're gonna play this. You're gonna pick the things with a blocker that matter the most in what you're trying to do. I think if you're going for a not aggressive deck, this is fine, but it just kind of depends on like your playstyle. I think it's good even for aggro. I think blocker's just too good in these early games. All right, so here's my God, how do you say this? Darabald? Darabald? That sounds like so you're calling someone bald. This is a level 3 2 cost. Yeah, white is a playstyle. It's just like a defensive playstyle. It's like control. It got the blocker to defend. It got the bounce to like clear your way. It's essentially tempo. But you can't really build like, can you build a mono white deck right now? Can you build a monocolor deck out of any of the other colors in the beta right now? So level 3 2 cost, 4/2 academy trait. This goes along with the white seems to have more generic traits to pair with. Mono green bad, mono blue is okay. Okay. It's a beta product, so I'm not too worried. Do worry a little bit that mono white seems to be the easiest to build. A little bit. So this has deploy, choose one enemy unit with 1 HP, return it to its owner's hand. So another 1 HP bounce effect. I mean, like, this is probably white's the most aggressive white unit we've seen. If you link it, like, it'll be, but it'll die, probably. This feels like the Zaku 2 of white, kind of. I'm stretching it a little bit, but this kind of feels like the Zaku 2 of white. Suleta getting it to a 5/4 is pretty nice. Yeah, I'm kind of into it. This is actually the first white card I've been like, I don't know how good it is, but like it's interesting to me. We've got the Michaelis, a level 3 2 cost unit. That's a 3/3 with the Academy trait for the Link pilot. And then while there are 4 or more command cards in your trash, this unit gets AP +1, HP +1. Yeah, they should have switched them. Ariel should have gotten this, and this should have gotten Ariel's. Like, if this was a level 3 1 cost, if you had 4 commands, like, a 3/3 for 1 is, like, pretty cool. And then if Ariel was +1/+1, because you're not going to play it till later anyway, I think I would have liked that a little bit more. I still don't think Ariel would be, like, very good, but I still think Suleta would need to have a really good effect. Cat. Alright. Strike Gundam. They're throwing me off because we saw Strike Gundam already, but this is a different one. Level 4 2 cost unit, a 3/4 with no effect. Yeah, Michaelis is better Ariel. Yeah, I agree with that. Kira Yamato Link Pilot. If you're playing Kira, you're probably playing some amount of these, I imagine. So I haven't really thought about this much, but for you guys, I'm sure you can do it both ways and end up at like sort of similar results, but do you think you pick your units and then pick the pilots based on the units? Or do you think because you pick so few pilots, you pick your pilots first and then pick the units based on those pilots? Or have you tried to do it both ways? I know you guys have built like a lot of decks. All the level 4 vanillas don't need this. Okay, interesting. Alright, M1 Astray. So this is a level 2 2 cost. Interesting that Astray is in the first set, actually. That kind of surprises me. Although I do think they're very popular in Japan. While you have another triple ship alliance unit in play, this unit gets AP +1 and blocker. Rest this unit to change the attack target to it. Alright, we know what blocker does. The 2/2, no link pilot. While you have another triple ship alliance unit in play, this unit The only 3 ship alliance cards are M1 Astray and Perfect Strike. Okay, so more are probably coming. Me, I built based on my units and what my deck wants to do. Okay, yeah, so this is probably like not that important right now, but maybe when the first set comes out, we'll have more triple ship alliance cards. All right, here's Ghoul Jetter, a level 3 1 cost. I'd find what effects I want the most and then build around, whether it be pilot or unit. So the normal burst effect and then +1/+1. Activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, set this unit as active. It can't attack during this turn. Yeah, this is awkward. Maybe one day if there's like things that affect your opponent when they have 8 or more cards in their hand. Typically in card games, you don't want your opponent to have cards in their hand. It's typically how they work. Maybe one day. Here's our first white command from the first set. So this is the Witch and the Bride. It has first activate this card's main, and then main or action phase, you choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP, return it to its owner's hand. They might had was use white to get a bunch of cards in the hand via bounce and use show over draw 2, and that's why arrow needs to be a 1 cost so it can't fight that same turn. Maybe that would make sense, but that's like at least in the beta kind of magical Christmas land, I imagine. Choose one in with a return to. So this is more bounce, but 5 HP. If it's in their shield, if it's in your shield, it's okay because if they have 2 units and one attacked your shield and you bounce the other one, then like maybe they don't have the resources to play the unit and play the pilot and attack on the same turn. This is just tempo. Like it's just slowing your opponent down for a turn. Tempo is like very tricky in card games. Otherwise, bouncing empties your hand mega quick and you have no reason to use Ariel's cost reduction. Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. Tempo's really tricky in card games. People are pretty like divisive on like what tempo actually is in the first place, but I would call these bounce effects tempo effects. Are they going to be good when the first set comes out? This is definitely the part of white where I'm like, maybe. I don't know. I'm iffy on it. All right, we've got another command, Overflowing Affection. Level 2, 1 cost. Main, draw 2, and discard 1 card. I mean, this is just better. This is just the better version of the blue one, right? I don't even remember what the blue one was called now. But this is just better. Doesn't it cost less? 3 cost, level 4, draw 2. Yeah, this is just better, right? Like, I don't care if I'm keeping both cards in my hand. I'm still looking at both. You're just going to pick the cards you need right now. And white wants cards in your trash. Like, this is just better. I like this. I'm never going to play it. This is pretty good art, though, I will say. I would maybe make exceptions for this art. Alright, another command, Naval Bombardment, another level 2 1 cost. First, choose one enemy unit, it gets AP -3 during this turn. Wow. Choose one friendly unit with blocker, it gets AP +3 during this turn. So kind of the opposite effects on the burst and the action, but like both pretty good. You'll probably have a blocker if you're playing white in the beta. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, this is neat. I like that the burst and the action basically do the same but opposite things. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so you would block and then give it +3. I hope everyone enjoyed looking at all the cards. I'm pretty excited for the game. I'm a little worried about the first set. I'm hoping that blue, green, and red get a little bit of diversity and power boost compared to, although I think green's pretty good compared to white. I hope the other colors get at least 1 unit with blocker. I think having blocker and 1 color is very bad for game design. Eventually, hopefully, other colors will get some blocker, though. I'm really curious how the first full set is going to feel compared to the beta, because I just have this strange feeling that like it's gonna feel very different than the beta, especially adding a whole 4th color. Who knows? As people know, I'm not a huge fan of the 2 color limit on deck building, but there's some interesting stuff that you can do already. I hope everyone is having a good time. I hope everyone's having a good life. YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment on what your favorite card was if you feel like it. It's always greatly appreciated, and I'll check everyone in the next video. Bye bye. I never know how to end these things.